Good afternoon. A pride flag was torched outside of East York Elementary School.
The flag that had been assembled by students at the school was destroyed after being set on fire last weekend. And now Toronto Police's hate crime unit is investigating. CP24's Steve Ryan joins us live now with more. Steve.
The children at RH McGregor Elementary School in East York put this pride flag together piece by piece. Each grade contributed one particular color of the flag, and it was displayed on one of the school fences out front of the school. And on July the 5th, parents were advised that somebody had burned the flag down to the ground. So it now is being investigated by the Toronto Police, including their hate crimes unit. Now, this offense is mischief. Anytime you destroy somebody's property, the criminal offense is mischief. There is no criminal offense for a hate-motivated crime. The hate motivation can become an aggravating factor if the Crown can prove that the criminal offense was committed as a result of hatred towards one of many prohibited grounds, one of them being sexuality. So given the pride flag represents sexuality, if the Crown can prove that this mischief was committed based on that hatred, well then the sentence, if convicted, can be that much stiffer. So it is an aggravating factor. It is not a criminal offense in and of itself. Having said that, this is why the Toronto Police Hate Crimes Unit is now conducting this investigation, and they are actively going through this area. There's a lot of very good video surveillance around as well, and they are looking for any clues that may help identify who the suspect or suspects are. Now, I did speak with a concerned mom whose children go to the school, and here's some of that interview I had with her.
It was meant to show inclusivity, respect, allyship, and we really felt that it represented that. There was a lot of pride that went into the creation of it. A lot of the kids were really happy about it, really wanted to show their parents the piece that they had tied as they walked by. And it was really difficult. On Sunday, it was burned down and completely destroyed. What's come from that is kind of a really nice ad hoc or kind of community-based idea around how we can continue to show allyship and how we can continue to show representation.
This mom went on to say that she welcomes debate. She welcomes open dialogue for those that may disagree, but she certainly says that putting your hands on somebody else's property and destroying it, specifically if it's on, or especially if it's on a young child's school grounds, is certainly unacceptable.
All right, CP24's Steve Ryan, thank you. A 62-year-old man is facing charges in connection with a fire at a Scarborough apartment building yesterday. Police were called to the building near Victoria Park in Eglinton shortly before 2 in the morning yesterday. There was a fire on the 9th floor, which led to the building being evacuated. 2 people were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. 62-year-old Herbert Ward of no fixed address has been charged with arson and 3 counts of disobeying a court order in connection with the fire.
Peel police are investigating after a body was found following a shed fire in Brampton. Emergency crews called to a home on Aloma Crescent near Steeles and Bramalea around 3:45 yesterday afternoon for reports that a shed was on fire. Then they found a man's body inside the shed after the fire was extinguished.
The fire was knocked down very fast. It's not a very large structure, and then the search took was a quick search with identification made pretty rapidly, and working with our partners here with Peel Police and the OFM to try to determine next steps.
It's too early for us to actually determine that as of yet. So what will happen is the remains will be taken for the purposes of a postmortem examination to determine cause of death, and those results will be returned to us to determine if there's any criminality.
Police have not yet identified the man.
A Brampton man convicted in the U.S. of running a cross-border drug trafficking operation has been sentenced to 20 years in prison. Earlier this year, 63-year-old Gurumrit Sidhu pleaded guilty to leading a drug ring from 2020 to 2023. A California court heard more than 500 kilos of meth and nearly 350 kilos of cocaine were brought into Canada from the U.S. Officials say the drugs were worth up to $7 million. Sidhu is the 8th person in the case to plead guilty.
The pedestrian pilot project on Church Street has been running since mid-June, but the initiative was celebrated with a ribbon-cutting ceremony this morning.
Despite the celebration, there are some concerns about the cost of the project for the city. CTV's Beth McDonnell has been following this story and joins us live with more. Beth.
Nathan, we're taking the temperature today on the Church Street pedestrian pilot project, and so far area residents we're speaking with really are enjoying it, and it seems to be popular. Today there was that ribbon cutting ceremony with the city councillor, and this project closes church from Wellesley to Alexander and between June 19th and August 21st. I did hear some mixed reaction on the impact to businesses. Some say it's been fantastic for businesses. Others say customers who normally drive here for items have had some difficulties, especially with parking. The other criticism, as you mentioned, is the cost. Initially, the 9-week program was set to cost $150,000. That ballooned to $500,000, which is being attributed to security costs. But when it comes to the people I've been speaking with who are coming down here using the space, they seem to love it.
It's great. It's drawing people out. People seem to be happy and enjoying it and using the extended patios.
It makes meeting a little easier and cruising a little easier, and everybody is respectful kind of because they're aware that it's an open space.
It's like being in Europe. It's fantastic.
People are really enjoying it. Everybody's out having fun every evening, so it's nice to see.
We've been working with Toronto Police from the outset, and now they only have secure policing on the weekend. But we do have 24 security here during this pilot project. So, and again, that has increased our costs, but that's something that I'm hoping that will inform our decision going forward as to whether we need this much security or not.
Several people actually told me they'd like to see the pilot project extended into September. But if you haven't been down here, there are still several weeks to go. It runs until August 21st. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. Gas prices have risen roughly 5 cents a litre amid the renewed violence in the Middle East. The increase means the price of gas at most GTA stations has risen to around $1.70 a litre. Diesel has also spiked 13 cents to nearly $2 a litre. The increase comes as the U.S. launches new airstrikes against Iran, and Tehran targets U.S. allies in the Persian Gulf.
As Olivia Chow, Brad Bradford, and other mayoral hopefuls gear up for this October's election, another prominent candidate is considering throwing his hat into the ring. Chris Alexander served as Minister of Immigration and Citizenship under Steve Harper from 2013 to 2015. He later ran for federal Conservative leader in 2017. Alexander's seat in Parliament was Ajax Pickering, but he tells CTV News he grew up in the city and has been living here full-time since 2022. He says he is considering a run because a number of people and organizations in the city asked him to, but he hasn't made a final decision yet.
The World Cup hosting duties have ended here in Canada, but we're getting new numbers on how many people use public transit during the tournament's time in the city.
The data shows a significant increase for both the TTC and GO Transit. CTV's Mike Walker has been taking a closer look at the numbers and joins us live with more details. Mike.
Well, Nathan and Michelle, the city had implemented a transit-first mobility plan for FIFA, and with no parking available at Toronto Stadium, and new data release shows a huge boost in ridership on routes serving both Toronto Stadium and FanFest. Now, on the 6 match days here in Toronto, the TTC reporting 1.1 million trips. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year. The TTC says the trips were in addition to regular daily service and overlapping events in the city. The biggest increase was on the opening match when Canada played with more than 202,000 trips. That's a 47% increase year over year. Metrolinx also reporting ridership on GO Transit, and the Up Express was close to 180,000 passengers on match days. It says the increase was 51% higher than the average Blue Jays World Series game last year. Here's more from the TTC and the mayor on the ridership numbers.
It was really a lot of planning, and so this has been going on for months, if not years, in terms of planning. And so on the surface, quite literally, obviously, was putting more trains and buses, and so adding, surface transit on Dufferin, on Bathurst, on King Street, on Queens Quay was really critical to this. But just as important was all the pre-work that was done, and so we were testing our systems, testing our infrastructure. We did actually, live field tests with people and mechanics and response teams.
It was fabulous. So many people took public transit, whether it's TTC, Metrolink. The traffic flow when 40,000 people plus the 20,000 that's coming out of FanFest as they are leaving that whole area. It was smooth, and people had a very smooth way of leaving that whole area.
We'll be getting reaction this afternoon from transit advocates. The TTC says more data will be released when the FIFA World Cup is over. Reporting live, I'm Mike Walker. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Mike. Still to come, FIFA Fan Fest at Fort York is back today. There'll be a watch party this afternoon for the Spain-Belgium match. We'll have those details a little later in the newscast.
The city has opened new purpose-built pickleball courts at Main Sewage Treatment Playground near Eastern Avenue and Coxwell Ave.
Yeah. Got it.
Good for Mayor Chow hit the court for the first match to be played. The 25,000 square foot facility features wheelchair accessible courts as well as a new shade structure and bleacher seating.
This park, it stands out. The name stands out. Main Sewage Treatment Playground. Yes, interesting names of any city park. But now it has the distinction of being one of Toronto's largest pickleball facilities. 11 dedicated pickleball courts, free and open for you to come and play. And if you look at this map, you see that it is the centerpiece of the major city-wide investment in the sports. We now have more than 300 public pickleball courts.
In addition to the pickleball courts, the park also features 2 basketball courts, a baseball diamond, and a rugby field.
We have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. There's a live shot at Nathan Phillips Square. Another watch party expected later this afternoon. If you're heading outside, a hat, a sunglasses, sunblock, to say the least, will be required. Lindsay Morrison has a look at the current conditions. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, for anyone heading to a watch party or maybe to head down to those pickleball courts, you're going to want to take care, of course. It is still a little hot and humid, but not quite as hot and humid as it's been the last couple of days. And while we are keeping an eye on the radar for another opportunity for a few pop-up showers or thunderstorms, all is quiet right now. We've got cloud cover clearing out of the GTA. Any active weather that does occur is going to be more isolated in nature. Winds out of the east today, fairly light once again. At this hour, 25 degrees feels more like 33. So yeah, not completely, it's not humid, but it's not as bad as it was. 27 degrees, expected to feel like 32 for the afternoon. Mix of sun and cloud in the forecast. 30% chance of showers for us. And coming up, we're going to take you through the weekend forecast and talk about potentially a heat wave next week. That's all ahead. Michelle, over to you for now.
Thank you, Lindsay. No major delays have been reported at Montreal's Trudeau Airport after an Air Canada plane veered off the runway yesterday after landing.
The second this plane hit the ground, I knew something wasn't right. We were skidding, and next thing I knew, there was smoke and grass and dirt right next to the window.
156 passengers and 6 crew were on board the flight from Los Angeles. In a statement to CTV News, Air Canada says the Boeing 737 MAX plane landed normally, then experienced a, quote, runway excursion and came to a stop in the grass. No injuries have been reported. Air Canada says the plane will undergo a full inspection.
The American ambassador to Canada says provincial premiers bear some of the blame for the rocky relations between the two countries.
CTV's Rob Buffum has more on Pete Hoekstra's recent interview with CTV.
Both sides of the border.
As it has done.
U.S. Ambassador to Canada Pete Hoekstra told CTV's Your Morning Vancouver Canadian premiers have contributed to the tension between the two countries.
Some of the language that your president has used around the relationship with our country. In fact, just yesterday.
Some of the language that some of your premiers have used and some Canadians have used, there's fault to go around to both.
He had a cordial meeting with Premier Eby back in March after making inflammatory comments last year. This business of Canada being mean and nasty to deal with, have your thoughts on that shifted, or is that still your view?
My view is I probably shouldn't talk about it.
Thursday, he didn't single out BC's premier, but Eby has been an outspoken critic of Trump and his tariffs, including when he removed all U.S. liquor from BC shelves.
If the president's so interested in Canadian water, then we're going to help him out by letting him keep his watery beer.
Eby is not the only premier to fire back at the president. Ontario's Doug Ford launched TV ads in the States critical of Trump's tariffs. And Manitoba's Wab Canoe said this about lifting an alcohol ban amid failed trade talks.
No Kuzma, no Boozma.
BC's lead on trade, Jobs Minister Ravi Kahlon, backed up his boss.
I respectfully disagree with the ambassador. We did not threaten to annex the United States of America.
Hoekstra also pushed back on the suggestion that Trump's repeated threats to Greenland's sovereignty or making Canada a 51st state were unhelpful to ongoing trade talks, claiming security threats in the Arctic required tough talk.
Why Greenland, why Canadians might be concerned by those comments.
Take a look at what's going on. Okay, you can be concerned. Okay, I can't stop you from being concerned.
The ambassador acknowledged that trade negotiations are more advanced between the U.S. and Mexico, with Canada talks in limbo.
I didn't think it'd take this long. Okay, I thought we'd be there already.
Why aren't we there yet?
Obviously, the two negotiating teams have not gotten to a point where they believe that it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty and work it out.
CTV News has learned that Hoekstra and Premier Eby met shortly after that interview. Eby's office describing it as a productive conversation despite their differences, adding that until trade talks resume, Eby won't lift the booze ban. Robert Buffum, CTV News, Victoria.
Statistics Canada has released new data showing Canada added jobs last month, pushing the overall unemployment rate down. CTV's Jeremy Charon joins us live now from Ottawa with a closer look at the numbers. Some good news on a Friday. Jeremy, help us understand these numbers. What are they telling us?
Yeah, Michelle, a good news story for sure. Jobs numbers outperforming forecasts. Most had predicted about 10,000 jobs would be added and that the unemployment rate would remain stagnant. What we saw instead were some modest gains. 18,000 jobs added to the economy last month, in the month of June, pushing unemployment down by 0.1% to 6.5%. All of that coming out after a very strong month of May, which is significant in the context of a poor first quarter GDP report. Of course, there was a lot of talk about a technical recession. That's because Canada did see two back-to-back quarters of negative GDP growth. But now we've seen two strong jobs reports on back-to-back months, combined with April GDP numbers that show 0.5% GDP growth. All signals that back up what some economists have been saying, which is that they were reluctant to go ahead and talk about a full-blown recession. What we're seeing is the economy showing some resilience, showing that the jobs market is remaining strong. Seeing a little bit of growth month over month here, despite the fact we are still experiencing trade uncertainty, especially with the United States. So certainly a good news story. Some good indicators here, especially in the context of what we saw at the start of the year, which was a pretty poor start. We're seeing a bit of a rebound here.
Let's talk about the youth unemployment numbers. These are popular months for youth and working. What do they reveal?
Yeah, summertime. A lot of people are watching very closely the youth summer jobs numbers, especially this year, because last year was so bad. Last year, we saw one of the worst summers for student jobs in almost a decade. And so last month, or in the previous StatsCan jobs report for May, we started to see a downward turn in unemployment. So a good sign. And that happened again this month, or in the month of June, rather, through this report. So we saw a decline of 0.7% in the unemployment rate in that cohort of people aged 15 to 24. 33,000 jobs added. And the unemployment rate goes from 13.4% in the month of May to 12.7% in the month of June. So a good sign there for students, coming from university or high school students that are looking for summer jobs. And it is a metric that many experts watch closely in the summer months because it is an important, section of the economy and the jobs market for young students. So another good sign there when it comes to youth unemployment across the country.
Well, we appreciate you breaking it down for us. CTV's Jeremy Cheryl live in Ottawa. Thanks.
Anytime, Michelle.
In Washington, U.S. President Donald Trump has issued new powers granted to him by the Supreme Court to fire key election officials. The top court recently ruled the president has broad executive authority to fire political appointees at independent executive agencies. The White House confirmed Trump removed the 2 Democrats on the Election Assistance Commission. The lone remaining member, a Republican, then quit. The commission distributes federal grants to U.S. states, overseeing the testing of voting systems, and maintains the National Voter Registration Form. It had previously resisted his efforts to require proof of citizenship before registration. It's not clear if Trump plans to appoint new members or leave the positions vacant before this year's midterm elections.
Turning to the war in the Middle East, following a week-long state funeral, Iran has buried its late Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei.
Allahu Akbar.
Final prayers were delivered today with Khamenei's 3 sons attending the funeral. The 86-year-old was killed by U.S. and Israeli airstrikes in February, ending his 37-year reign as Iran's supreme leader. Meanwhile, there has been a pause in the fighting between the U.S. and Iran as negotiators try to restart talks.
Prime Minister Mark Carney said to arrive back in Ottawa this afternoon after his trip overseas for the NATO Leaders Summit and his visit to Saudi Arabia. The PM met with Crown Prince and Saudi PM Mohammed bin Salman, and several agreements were signed between the 2 countries, including a critical minerals partnership. Both Carney and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand say they did raise concerns about human rights with their counterparts in private. Carney said he felt that lecturing countries from afar was an ineffective strategy. CTV News political commentator Scott Reed says the PM is recalibrating Canada's message to other countries amid the trade war with the U.S.
So suddenly we're having to open up much more with China. We're dealing with India. We are dealing with Saudi Arabia. We're not necessarily going to like all the partners. We're not necessarily going to share values with all those partners, but economic necessity and the overweening desire to diversify our trade and our economic relationships is driving that. And of course, in this specific case, the other issue is we need to have engagement in the region, given what's happening with Iran.
Prime Minister Carney didn't share details on any discussions he might have had with Donald Trump on trade at the NATO summit.
Turning to the FIFA World Cup, France became the first team to make it to the tournament semifinals after knocking out Morocco yesterday afternoon. It was another big game for Kylian Mbappe. The French star scored in the 60th minute and assisted on another goal 6 minutes later. France topped Morocco 2-0. The team will now play the winner of the quarterfinal match between Spain and Belgium. That game is set to kick off in Los Angeles at 3 p.m. And tomorrow, there are 2 matches for fans to take in. England will take on Norway at 5 p.m. in the first quarterfinal. Then defending champs Argentina will square off with Switzerland at 9 p.m. And fans wanting to take in the games here in Toronto can head to FIFA Fan Fest at Fort York in the Bentway. A watch party will be held this afternoon for the Spain-Belgium match. There will also be watch parties for tomorrow's matches, as well as a free concert featuring Saskatchewan rockers, the Sheepdogs. Lindsay.
Well, it's a pretty good-looking weekend forecast, too, I must say. And after that volatile weather yesterday with those thunderstorms, we are keeping an eye on the sky today, too. But any active weather will be much more isolated if it does occur. Today's high, 27 degrees, is what we're forecasting. Still feeling into the 30s. Best chance of active weather today is going to be Hamilton and Southwest, as well as communities northeast of Toronto. And then it's wall-to-wall sunshine as we make our way through the next few days. This is your weekend forecast. Again, it's looking pretty nice, but next week we are talking heat wave criteria once again. We'll show you just how hot and humid it could get after this break here on CTV News. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The Women of Color Hockey Collective Summer Camp is underway at the Forward Performance Center. Now, the free 3-day program sees women and girls coached by PWHL players. CTV Jessica Smith joins us live from the rink with more, and Jess, people can see themselves represented at a high level.
Nathan, and representation we know is so important in every avenue, but for sports especially, and it's for women of color in sports, representation means everything. And I'm joined by not only a PWHL player, but an Olympian as well. We were talking about this a second ago. I'm like, this is wild that I'm standing beside somebody who is so insanely talented. But Sophie Jakes, I have to ask you, what does this partnership mean with the PWHL, bringing this to people, but also making it accessible? Because we know sports can be expensive, athletics in general can be expensive, but what does this partnership mean?
Yeah, this partnership's been amazing. We'd like to thank ELF and the PWHL for supporting us and allowing us to run our camp this summer. It's a free 3-day camp for women of color to come get to try hockey, play it out, and for those who are already playing to get to bond with other girls who look like them who are playing the sport. And it's just awesome to watch the community grow and those girls really find a sense of confidence in their belonging in the sport, which is just great to see.
I feel like it's one of those things where if you can see it, you can be it. And I know it's like a very common saying and can sound maybe a little corny, but I think it makes such a difference to see somebody who looks like you or has hair like you or, you know, has a background like yours. What are you hoping, not only for the players to take out of this weekend, but for the kids that are participating? Because I think everyone, it's a give and take situation for the pros and for the kids that are coming through.
Yeah, I think the main goal is just for everyone to have fun and really know that they belong in hockey. I think that sometimes you might look around and be the only person that looks like you in the room or on the ice. And I think just for them getting to see other people and be here on this ice, I think is a great experience.
After this weekend, obviously you want to continue to get this conversation going. What are ways people can continue to either stay connected to this or to follow up and make sure that their kids can take it beyond just the weekend?
Yeah, I think definitely following us on our social media. We post all of our events there, and then having that sense of community. We also have lots of mentorship programs and different things you can do remotely if you're not in any of the cities to get involved and really get that sense of community.
Representation matters. Sophie, thank you so much. We'll have more throughout the afternoon on CP24, but we're going to throw things back inside where we can talk about the weather. It's cool in here, but it's hot outside, so you guys can cover that side of things.
We sure will. Hopefully you're enjoying the nice cool air there. Yeah, anything but hockey weather right now. We are in full swing summer, and we have another weekend ahead of us. And wow, I think nature's going to deliver for everyone's plans.
I think you're right. Like, it's not too hot. It feels like midsummer, but not like the extreme weather.
Yeah, this is classic July weather. I think the kind that's crowd-pleasing. Of course, thunderstorm activity can be classic summer weather too, but this I think is going to fare well for anybody's plans, outdoors or indoors this weekend. Nice and warm, seasonably warm, not excessive heat, and wall-to-wall sunshine. Next week, though, once again, we are going to be talking about oppressive humidity and at least 3 consecutive days with the temperature above 30. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. After that stormy weather yesterday, it was nice to see so many folks out and about this morning enjoying dry conditions. There was a bit of cloudiness. There's the ferry going across Lake Ontario to the islands. And then, of course, there's our beautiful waterfront. Nice and comfortable for any runners hoping to get that jog in early in the day. I know it's been so hot recently for any outdoor athletics. Right now on the satellite and radar, we've got a fair amount of sunshine, still some cloudiness hugging the shoreline of Lake Erie. And this is a part of the province that we expect there could be a little more in the way of active weather this afternoon. I've also got my eye on the Parry Sound area where it looks like a little storm cell has just initiated there. Communities east of Georgian Bay and especially in toward Algonquin Park, for example, could see a little more stormy activity today also. But generally speaking, it is quieter. for us. And as we make our way into Saturday, Sunday, lots of sunshine. In fact, the dry stretch for the most part is going to extend right through next week. Here's about 3 p.m. so you can see Hamilton over toward London, and then communities like Port Dover, for example, Turkey Point could get into some pop-up showers or storms a little later today. In fact, you can see a cell starting to develop there around 7 p.m. tonight. Should be dry for the most part in the GTA. Areas east of here too could see some quick passing showers, but there's your Saturday afternoon. More likely that we will see sprinkles of rain further southwest toward Windsor, for example. Sunday, lots of sunshine, bit of cloud increasing as we make our way overnight and into Monday. But again, we expect to be dry right through to the middle part of next week. It's 25 degrees right now, a nice comfortable temperature, still a bit humid. That humidity isn't gone entirely, but it's not feeling like 40 today. Here is your Friday evening patio forecast. It looks good. Again, though, just a reminder to keep an eye on the sky. Just with the setup that we have, there's just enough leftover instability that there could be a quick pop-up shower late afternoon or evening, but we are dry overnight, a clear sky, and an overnight low of 19 degrees. There's tomorrow at a glance, 28 degrees, likely to feel more like 30 here in the city of Toronto. Nice conditions around St. Thomas, Collingwood. No matter what beach you are headed to tomorrow in southern, southwestern, or even central Ontario, you can expect that the weather will cooperate. Here is your 7-day forecast. So let's talk about next week. Sunday, 29 degrees, 32, 34, 32. The highs expected for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, feeling close to 40 each of those days. And then we're going to keep an eye on next Thursday for our next best chance of a passing shower as well. Nathan, I'm going to send it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The Blue Jays will begin their final series before the All-Star break tonight when they take on the San Diego Padres.
And it's lined into center, a base hit to lead off the top of the 9th inning. The first hit of the ball game for the Giants.
The Jays have won their past 2 games, with Dylan Cease nearly throwing a no-hitter in Wednesday's 10-0 win over San Francisco. Shane Bieber will take the mound for Toronto tonight, with first pitch against the Padres set for 9:40 in San Diego.
The Argonauts will be looking to get back in the win column tonight when they take on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Vernon with pressure, rolls to his right, pumps, takes off, uses the legs, nobody's looking at him, and Vernon Adams Jr. will score!
Toronto was crushed by the Calgary Stampeders in their last game, losing 58-36. Kickoff for tonight's game against the Blue Bombers set for 8:30 in Winnipeg.
The Tempo are heading to Montreal to face the Dallas Wings in their Across Canada series.
Nurse, catch and shoot, got it! You knew that was going in. Kia Nurse.
The team's coming off an 83-75 loss to Golden State on Wednesday. The Tempo and Wings last played on Sunday, with the Wings coming out on top 89-76. Tonight's game, which could set a WNBA attendance record, is set for 7:30 at the Bell Centre in Montreal.
An Ontario wrestler is set to represent Canada on the international stage later this month.
CTV's Colton Weens has more on the high schooler who is trying to be one of the best in the country.
Discipline, dedication, and drive defines Jude Garucho's commitment to wrestling.
His work ethic, definitely. He pushes the pace of everything. It doesn't matter what's going on. He's here at practice every day training hard.
The 16-year-old from Kitchener trains at least 3 hours a day, and it's quickly paying off.
It pushes me to be a better person. I feel like once you get good at wrestling, everything in life comes easier.
Garucho is the under-17 double Canadian national champion in the 45-kilogram weight division. He will represent Canada at the U17 United World Wrestling Championships in Azerbaijan at the end of July, followed by a trip to Hong Kong for a camp and tournament.
I'm expecting to make a statement, and I'll just try my best.
Oh, excited, anxious, nervous, and mixed.
It really is a special thing to be able to go to one of these trips.
The high schooler also competes on the Resurrection Catholic Secondary School team, but has only been wrestling for 2 years. He'll be competing against athletes who've wrestled all their lives, but coaches believe he can win some matches at Worlds.
No one really gets to go to Worlds within 2 years, so it's pretty cool. He's very soft-spoken, but he kicks ass on the mats.
Originally in Air Cadets, he played other sports as well, but wanted to find something with weight classes.
He tried MMA, but the mom said, nope, no way. They made a compromise. if he's going to graduate with honors, then we'll enroll him in MMA. So fortunately, he graduated with honors.
Olympus Martial Arts Academy encouraged him to try wrestling, and now he's one of the best in Canada. While Garucho will go to Worlds, he does need at least $12,000 to fund the whole trip.
We just really want to raise money for him and raise some awareness to the public here in town.
And if you want to help with the fundraising for his trip to Worlds, they're holding a breakfast fundraiser on Saturday, July 18th at St. Mark's Catholic Church. Colton Ween, CTV News, Kitchener.
Still to come, health officials are monitoring for a parasite which has appeared in Michigan but has yet to make its way north of the border. We'll have those details when we come back.
Health officials are monitoring for a parasite that has appeared in Michigan but has yet to make its way north of the border. U.S. officials say this parasite has impacted more than 1,200 people, leaving them with severe diarrhea. They have not determined an exact cause but suspect it may have come from contaminated food. Health officials are urging people to make sure they wash all fruits and vegetables thoroughly. A Calgary man has developed an app to assist with people who have Parkinson's disease.
It's aimed to help track symptoms and medications. CTV's Kevin Green has the details.
Gary Swanson created My Care Cycle Parkinson's after years of helping his wife Fiona navigate the disease. The app tracks details that can be hard to remember between doctor's appointments.
And I could see the transition and the development of Parkinson's. I could see where it could become very difficult tracking medication or tracking mood or exercise programs.
For Fiona, that tracking is not just about numbers or notes. She says Parkinson's can affect memory, medication timing, and the way her movement changes through the day.
I realized how important the timing was, and then I have the app now, and so now I can put it in there, and it shows when I took the medication.
The app allows users to log changes in symptoms, mood, and exercise, and log medications.
And you want to try and keep track and make sure that the medications are taken at a consistent time.
The app also creates reports for medical professionals.
The doctor can look and go, okay, so you've been pretty consistent taking your medication in the morning and afternoon, but you're sort of laxing a bit in the evening, so we can make adjustments.
Parkinson's patients must remember a lot during short medical appointments. Parkinson Association CEO Lana Tordoff says tools that organize information make a big difference.
So this is where an app like Gary's creating can come in really handy. You don't have somebody else to kind of anecdotally support what you're telling your physician.
For the Swansons, the My Care Cycle app is a digital tool with a personal origin, a way to turn their daily experience with Parkinson's into something that can help others.
I hope someone downloads the app and they go, yes, this is useful. This will make things so much easier to help us deal with the
My Care Cycle Parkinson's is available on the Apple App Store. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
With school out for summer, thousands of kids in Waterloo region don't have access to meals they rely on.
Now a local organization is working to make sure no one goes hungry. CTV's Spencer Turcott has that story.
These are the sounds of summer for this group of hardworking volunteers. When the final bell rings for the school year, many children lose access to breakfast, lunches, snacks. That's where Food for Kids steps in.
Every single day in the summer for 9 weeks, we're feeding children at their doorsteps. 3 meals a day and snacks for 1,572 local children.
The organization fills boxes with food before volunteers load them into vehicles, making sure families have food every single day school is out.
Other organizations take a break or only serve up to 5 days worth of food in the summer, and we're serving every single day.
It's a huge operation powered almost entirely by dedicated volunteers like Sawyer.
It means a lot to me to be able to help all of Kitchener and Waterloo region. I don't think it should be right that some kids go to bed hungry and some kids don't.
His father, Phil, spends part of his summer break helping pack and deliver food, too. It hits close to home for him, considering he works at Franklin Public School and sees the direct impact hunger has on students.
They're not able to focus as much. They're having a rough go of it, right? Especially when they're young and growing.
Despite serving more children than ever, the need continues to grow.
We have a wait list of 267 children who are in need of our services. They've been identified, but we don't have the funds to support them at this time.
Food for Kids receives no government funding and says every meal is made possible through community assistance.
We rely on our community, our generous supporters, and our volunteers who allow our mission to really shine.
Because even though school is on break, that doesn't mean proper nutrition should be taking a break too.
Food for Kids says anyone looking to volunteer can reach out directly to them, and donations can be made in person or online.
Spencer Turcotte, CTV News.
You're watching CTV News at noon. Lots more to come. Stay with us.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Quebec is cracking down on Ontario truckers trying to get a license to work in the province.
As CTV's Sweet Arasi reports, it comes after an Ontario Auditor General report outlining gaps in training for truck drivers.
Ontario truck drivers who have had their Class 1 or trucker's license for less than 2 years will now have to pass a road test before they can get a Quebec license. That's according to the SAAQ, Quebec's Auto Insurance Board. If they fail twice, they would be required to complete mandatory training.
Students were not taught key elements.
This measure comes after Ontario's Auditor General found the province is not effectively monitoring training and licensing programs, raising concerns about qualified drivers on the road. The SAAQ estimates that 375 Ontario drivers make the jump to Quebec each year. And it's concerned. Its data shows more than 25% of deaths that occurred on Quebec roads last year involved a truck.
We have seen an increase in trucks involved in deadly accidents here in Quebec in the last year and the previous year. So we're taking this seriously. No one likes to see people die on the street.
A public inquiry is also underway following a deadly crash in Boucherville that killed a 34-year-old mother and her 5-year-old son. The Quebec Trucking Association says the measure is a good step, but President Marc Cadieux would like to see more.
I've insisted that there will be to be put more hours on control and enforcement on the Quebec roads. That will be a clear message.
The government calls the new road test a temporary measure, one it says will stay in place until Ontario proves it's tightened its own standards. Sweet Arasi, CTV News.
Cineplex is reporting solid results for a second quarter thanks to a number of box office draws. Cineplex says the debut of Toy Story 5 last month marked its biggest domestic opening weekend of 2026. It helped boost revenue for June to $55.8 million, up from $51.8 million for the same period last year. The company says there was also strong demand for the latest scary movie title, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day, not to mention Obsession and Backrooms. The company noted its combined box office and concession revenue for June topped the mark set in 2019 before the pandemic by 6%.
Coming up, beginning a business by taking out the trash. We'll have more on a young entrepreneur from East Gwillimbury who has a growing presence online. A young entrepreneur from East Gwillimbury is proving that one person's trash is another's burgeoning business.
$10 for all your bins.
All of them?
Yep.
That's a good summer job.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm doing this all summer.
You're a fine young lad.
Thank you.
Ashton Meyer started his business called Your Bin Cleaning in May. He goes door to door offering to clean garbage, recycling, and green bins for $10. That's a steal. His Instagram account has 85,000 followers, with the video seen here accumulating more than 1.3 million likes. Meyer says social media has been a boost for his business, and he now has dozens of customers.
Garbage bin cleaning is going to be a summer thing. And then in fall, I'm going to do leaf raking and blowing. And then in the winter, I'm going to get a power broom. I'm going to save up for one. And I'll use that power broom and I'll mow the shovel the driveways. And then in the spring, I can do garbage bin cleaning and lawn mowing. Because next year, I'll do lawn mowing.
Meyer says he has received donations so that he can begin offering free services to seniors as well as people with disabilities. How about that?
Isn't it great? I love seeing kids working. Now, when I was a kid, I had a paper route. How about you?
What did I do? I offered to clean shoes sometimes for my grandparents, but I would have loved, I would have loved to do this job, but this is a real service that people want. Who likes cleaning the bin? It's disgusting.
It's so true.
Needs to charge more, though.
Good for that young man. I also had a paper route. I think my mom did a lot of it for me, though. Thanks, Mom.
I love it, though. You guys are in news. It's perfect.
Exactly. That worked out well. And for whatever job or activity you may have going on today, weather is on your side for the most part. Here's one more look at those satellite and radar. We will keep an eye on this for the possibility of a pop-up shower or storm, but that's mainly outside of the GTA. Tonight's low about 19 degrees. Clear conditions tomorrow. Wall-to-wall sunshine, temperature around 28 degrees here locally, feeling closer to 30. Pretty picture perfect, I think, for so many in the month of July. And if you're headed to the cottage, a campground, what a weekend for it. Warmth, sunshine, not looking at any active weather for most areas until about the middle of next week when a chance of showers returns. And just a reminder that we are looking at a very hot couple of days, Monday through Wednesday. Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Lindsay. And that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and all of us here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6.